Well, welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Tanner O'Brien. I'm a senior partner here at Action Coach in Central Texas. And today I have with me Michael Strong, the founder of the Socratic Experience. And we're going to be talking about his business and all of the fun things that he's accomplished along his way in this journey. So if you're new to this channel, if you have not seen these videos before, make sure you like and subscribe. Get notified when these conversations drop. We're interviewing business owners just like Michael every week. So, Michael, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to hand it over to you. Why don't you share just a little bit about your background and your business? Tell us a little bit about what you all do, and a little bit on just general pieces on how you got to where you are today.
Terrific. Thank you. Great to be here, Tanner. So I've been in education for 35 years, starting in public schools and creating a series of high-performance private and charter schools. It's fair to say I'm the most experienced developer of innovative educational programs in the U.S. I created, among other things, Co-School in Austin. I created a charter school in New Mexico, ranked the 36th best in the U.S., best public school in the U.S. I created the high school model for the largest Montessori network in the U.S. And so in general, I combine alternative methods with high performance, especially for entrepreneurial, creative, and intellectual students. So after doing brick and mortar forever, in COVID, there's a lot of concern about the quality of online education. We do Socratic dialogue is core to what we do. Dialogue works pretty well virtually. It's more fun to be in person, but it works well. So I launched the Socratic Experience as a virtual school, now grades 3 through 12, in fall of 2020, with 3 students on my credit card. Now are 150 students and growing, raised 1.5 million in capital, and we have students from 30 different countries. So we're a global presence with growing numbers of students who are doing amazing things. So that's the 101.
That is absolutely fantastic. Tell us a little bit about kind of what makes the curriculum different. What for the 150 students that you have, kind of what does that look like for them? Is it is it replace more traditional education? Is it an add-on? What does that look like?
Completely different from traditional education. So we have 2 hours a day of Socratic dialogue where for 1 hour, it's personal growth. So we're very committed to personal growth. You as coaches would understand the importance of that. Today I was discussing deliberate practice to get into the flow state with students and how to optimize their time budgets so that they can be most effective at becoming amazing at what they want to do. We're very personalized about what they want to be excellent at. We also do text-based Socratic discussion where they read mostly classics in philosophy literature from cultures around the world. We have 2 hours of problem solving where they engage in mathematical and scientific problem solving. We have a self-paced math program where they can go as fast as they want. So we've got some students doing 2 years of math in 1 year. Other students may need to clean up and half a year of math in 1 year. Then we have electives that include digital skills, so audio engineering, software development, video production, user UI, user UX, those sorts of things. Kids love to learn digital skills. A lot of them are starting companies. Get to that in a minute. We have academic electives, US history, finance, Spanish, that kind of thing. We also have relationships and calisthenics and those sorts of things. So very individually driven, but the real goal is to help students do amazing things as an adolescent in the real world. To give you a couple of examples, we have one student who raised $1.1 million as a teenager. He's got 4 million users on Modrinth, his mod app, his Minecraft map app. And yeah, he might sell his company for 20 million at the age of 20. We've got a student who is writing fan fiction. She has written 200,000 words, has 30,000 followers. We've got a student who's interviewed about 400 CEOs from around the world, and she's created a startup that hires Pakistani women. She happens to be from Pakistan. So the real goal is to go beyond conventional academic metrics and help the next generation of creators, entrepreneurs, innovators do amazing things.
I love that. That is absolutely fantastic. As a parent myself, and knowing the gaps in education and the application to real world and things like that, that's really very cool to see. So I'm curious, as as a parent, if there's other parents that are watching this video, how, what would be some things that they would look for in their children to know that maybe this is a good option to try out? What are some things that you would recommend I look at as a parent and having that conversation with my kid on potentials?
No, that's a great question. First of all, most of our parents are either entrepreneurs or creative professionals themselves. And some, certainly like real estate professionals or salespeople, those are entrepreneurs. So they're not all, high-end, high-profile tech entrepreneurs, but we have a few like that. But really, it's people who want to add value in the world and look at what is your child passionate about. And if they're passionate in particular about creating something, whatever it is, I think we really want to encourage students to develop a sense of focus and commitment and excellence around their passions. And again, it can be very diverse. One of my biggest concerns about one-size-fits-all traditional schooling is if somebody wants to be a rock star academically, go for it. I was a straight A student, went to Harvard, all that. But there are many students who actually, I've got brilliant entrepreneurial students who are taking fewer academic courses because their time is better spent as an entrepreneur. I've got creators whose time is better spent developing their creative powers and so forth. So I would say observe your child, nurture their excellence, whatever it is. Don't think that the school one-size-fits-all model is the best for your child. And whether you come to a program like mine or not, by all means, help your child be amazing in what they love. There's one of my favorite authors is a man named Cal Newport, and he says focus is the new IQ. And I think that's very powerful. The people that focus on becoming excellent at something are going to be the winners. And, famously, a lot of great tech entrepreneurs are high school and college dropouts because they focused on doing something and doing it well.
I love that. I I wrote that down. Focus is the new IQ. That really resonates. I really like that. So thank you. Um, Tell me a little bit about the educators, teachers. What does that look like in the system?
No, that's great. Great question. So first on the Socratic dialogue piece, I've got a lot of people who attended universities where 4 years of Socratic dialogue. I went to St. John's College campuses in Santa Fe and Annapolis. For 4 years, you're reading, thinking, discussing ideas. They still need a little bit of training, but that sort of foundation of really being used to and accustomed to asking questions is number one. For the STEM program, people who are themselves great problem solvers, typically masters or at least a bachelor's in a math or science discipline and a love of problem solving. On the tech skills, the digital skills, people who are practitioners. The guy who's teaching audio engineering runs his own podcast, a science podcast for kids. He lives and breathes the quality of audio for his podcast. The guy who's teaching my tech courses was a young tech entrepreneur who himself learned tech and built companies. In every case, our digital skills are taught by people who are good at it. So I have no interest in traditional credentials. Again, it's all about, can you do something, do it well, and then do you love working with kids and transmit it to the kids?
Oh, that's fantastic. So I want to take a step back. Getting moving and making that choice into getting into business for yourself. Tell me a little bit about what that journey looked like for you personally, moving into, all right, I'm going to start something of my own and manage that process. Give us a little
No,
peek into what that journey looked like.
that's a great question. First, I'll start a long time ago when I first got into it, then I'll do the more recent one. But, when I was young, around 30, I was in Alaska and I was working in public schools with grant money based on grant money funding I was training teachers to lead Socratic seminars. And we ran out of grant money. And my colleagues and I were all out of a job, but parents loved what we were doing so much, they came to me and asked me to start a private school. At the time, I'd never figured out payroll and never figured out, all of the very basic, I'm embarrassed at how kind of ignorant I was at the time. So I had to learn the basic structure of business way back then. Since I've done a lot of schools, but sometimes with partners, sometimes working for other companies. So this is the most completely solo venture I've done. And, it's great to do something on your own. And, I would say team building is the number one thing. So, in other cases where I co-founded something, often I was the intellectual and I partnered with a business person and they did the business side. So I've actually had to do more of the business side as the founder. And finding good team members is number one, because very quickly I find there are so many things I'm not good at. And the old cliche, get the right person in the right seat on the bus. I would say, we're 3 years in and still figuring out how to optimize the system based on getting the right people where they're doing amazing things in every role.
That's fantastic. Um, as you look back on your journey from the very beginning, or even just in the past 3 years or so, are there any, we'll call them roadblocks or kind of challenges that you've had to overcome that stand out to you in terms of your development as a business owner, or just the company's development, but any kind of roadblocks or challenges that you've had to overcome that stand out to you?
I think the big one is, I'll put it this way, shamelessly asking capital, raising money. You know, I think I have huge respect for sales, because I think sales is what drives business, of course. And when it gets down to fundraising, obviously you want to be sensitive and respectful, but in another sense, you just got to ask, and you got to keep asking, and you need to, refine your pitch and ask and so forth. But I think that, go out there and get what you need and keep pushing. I would say that's sort of an endless process, how to refine one's pitch, especially on the capital side, because there's money out there. Even now in a downturn, there's money out there. But getting from A to B in terms of getting the funds in the bank, very sophisticated process with lots of refinement.
Oh, I'm sure there are a ton of micro lessons in that process and learning that along the way. If we had time, I'd love to, dive into it a little bit deeper. But as we kind of continue on, because I do want to be, respectful of time here. I always like to ask, kind of the other side of the equation when it comes to success. And by most people's measures, by my measure, you are successful. You've launched a business, you're growing it, all of that kind of stuff. So I like to ask the general question of, what are your keys to success? We'll call it. And everyone has a little bit different answer to what a key to success is. But what would you say your keys to success are along your journey?
A great question. Well, Paul Graham, founder of Y Combinator, I really respect his perspective a lot. And one of the things he emphasizes is getting some customers that love your product. Obviously, a product will only succeed in the marketplace if you have customers. But one of the things I focus on is, sometimes I spend a lot of time and energy on a few really great experiences to ensure that I've got some customers. And I'm a high touch product. Our top educational products are 12 to 15,000 a year. So I'm not selling cheap widgets. So when I have certain customers who are high touch influencers, I want to make sure they have a fantastic experience and love and shout about it and celebrate and so forth. And so one of the things that I have done and done well is I've cultivated now for many years, in previous schools and this one, some absolutely passionate customers. And those, in different ways, whether it's bringing in other parents or fundraising or strategic partnerships, to have people who are part of your community who will go to the mat for you in 100 different ways. And I have inbound offers to help me. And, entrepreneurs are super busy. We never have enough time. So I'm so grateful that I've got people in my network who are actively trying to help me succeed. And it's because I gave them and their children a great experience. And then they're grateful for years, in some cases, decades. It's a wonderful experience.
It's absolutely beautiful. So when you do look to the future, let's say over the next 5-10 years in your business, what are you most excited about?
I'm really excited about growth. Education is changing more rapidly than ever before. When I first got into education 30 some years ago, I thought it was about to change rapidly, but I would say COVID has been a game changer. And of course, COVID was tragic in many respects, but people are now more open to different models of education. I think many of them saw what was being piped into their homes, and it was not a good fit for their child. And as I think a lot of this is social norms, as we know of more people, actually Austin is a great place for alternative education models. I think almost everybody in Austin knows at least some families in their network where they're sending their children to a different kind of school. And as that becomes normalized across the US, I think we're going to see a rapid change in different kinds of schooling. And I think innovative models such as my own are going to explode in terms of growth and popularity. So I feel as if I'm, in one of the most exciting periods of educational development in terms of new models ever.
That is exciting. I am right there with you. I'd say the shift in what education can look like in the future, I'm personally very excited about as well. So I always like to end with kind of one question before we officially wrap up here that's a little bit different than what I just asked. But before we jump into that, Michael, I want to ask you, where can people go to find more information? How can they connect with you? Give us kind of the snippet on where to go for more information and how to stay connected.
Thank you. So our website is socraticexperience.com. That's www.socraticexperience.com. And I'm also, both the school and me personally, Michael Strong, are on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. And I love people to follow me, and I engage actively with my audiences. And I'm very opinionated on education and happy to be very forthright about that. So please go to socraticexperience.com if you'd like your child to consider our program. We offer shadow days where they can come and visit and see if it's a good fit. Very high touch admissions process. And follow me on my various platforms if you want to learn more about my world.
Beautiful. I appreciate that. And for all those listening, watching, I will put in the notes below. We'll put the website, we'll put the links for Michael here. Highly encourage everyone to go and check out the information. Do one of the shadow days, learn more information about what makes sense for your children. That is absolutely fantastic and a game changer today. So thank you for that, Michael. As we wrap up, I always like to end on one question, and a little bit different than the exciting question, but at the end of the day, Michael, what is most inspiring to you?
Seeing kids transform. It's absolutely joyful. Many people are depressed and cynical because there, of course, are endless bad things, and the news talks about it. I get to work with young people who are being transformed for the better, inspired, committed, doing these amazing things. And I work with a community of educators who are grateful and happy to be working with these kids. I describe myself as an entrepreneur of happiness and well-being, and there's no better business to be in than in the happiness and well-being industry with young people. So I am one of the most fortunate people I know. All joy every day, on the classroom experience, school experience, child experience front. So fun.
That is inspiring. Michael, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to sit down with me today and chat a little bit about the business. Tell us your experience and your journey. Very fascinating, very cool stuff. So thank you so much for being here with me today.
It's been a delight, Tanner. Thank you so much.